If you like pizzas, then you're going to love this recipe. I'm Florence Sandeman, publisher of recipesforus.co.uk, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a homemade fresh pizza from scratch, including the base and the toppings, in less than 25 minutes. Happy cooking! Before you even start getting your ingredients together, start preheating the oven to 220 centigrade, that's 425 Fahrenheit or gas mark 7. To serve 2 hungry people, you'll need 400 grams, 14 ounces of tinned chopped tomatoes, 1 tablespoon each of freshly chopped parsley and freshly chopped basil, or if you only have dried, then use 1 teaspoon of each, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste and half a teaspoon of sugar, salt and freshly ground black pepper, 200 grams or 7 ounces of self-raising flour, 1 tablespoon of olive oil plus a little extra for drizzling later, 90 ml, 3 fluid ounces of warm water, about 125 grams or 5 ounces of grated cheese. A mix of mozzarella and cheddar works very well, and other toppings of your choice. So now you've got the oven preheating, start by making the tomato sauce. Place the tomatoes, the sugar and the tomato paste in a medium-sized pan, and then add your herbs. Add plenty of black pepper and some salt, and mix it all well, stirring over a high heat until it comes to boiling point. So now it's coming to the boil. And just continue cooking it whilst you prepare the dough. Although you will have to keep your eye on it, just give it a stir every once in a while, just to make sure it's not sticking. So now the sauce is bubbling away and your oven is preheating, you can now make the pizza base. Place the flour and salt in a large mixing bowl, add the water and the olive oil, then start mixing the dough with a knife. It may look a little dry, but don't worry about that, because it will all come together. And when most of the flour has stuck to the dough, just made a mess there, start bringing it together with your fingers. I would mention that different flours take up liquid at different rates, so if you find that you've got a main piece of dough and you've got some bits left, just add a little more water and pull it all together so it forms a ball. And now we're going to start to knead it in the bowl. Just pushing the base of your hand against the dough. This is actually a good time just to check on your tomato sauce. Give it a stir to make sure it's not catching, and if necessary, turn the heat down a little. So I've lightly floured the board. I'm using a red one so that you can see exactly what's happening here. And take your dough and start to knead it. Once again with that pushing motion with the heel of your hand. And you're looking for a dough which isn't too wet. After kneading for 3 to 4 minutes, you'll be left with a nice elastic dough. And now it's time to roll it out. Take a rolling pin and dust lightly with flour. And you're going to have to roll it very firmly in order to get it to the thinness that is required for a pizza base. Otherwise you could end up with a very stodgy base, which you don't want. So once you've got your dough to a depth of about 6 millimeters, that's 1/4 of an inch, you're ready to line your tin. I'm going to use a long tin. You can roll it into whatever shape you like. That's the joy of making homemade pizzas. So once it's in the tin, you're ready to start assembling your pizza. By now, the tomatoes will have rendered down and be quite reduced. Spread the tomato sauce evenly over the base. Doesn't have to be perfect, but remember to leave a very slight border on the edges just to save your pan. And now you're ready to put on your toppings. Now I find one of the nicest things about homemade pizzas is that you can top it with whatever you like. So today I'm going to use pepperoni, onions, olives, sweet green peppers, and a little bit of extra parmesan just to give it a bit of oomph. Another tip that I would give you is that if you are using raw onions, is to put those on first, because once they're covered by the cheese, sandwiched between the sauce and the cheese, it'll make sure that they soften through even in that 10 minutes. So you're not crunching into raw onions. So next I'm going to add the cheese. Just sprinkle it over relatively evenly. And then I'm going to just sprinkle the parmesan, a little parmesan, over the top and over the edges as well, which I told you to keep clear, just to give those a little bit of extra flavour. Then we'll add the pepperoni. Spaced out relatively evenly so that you get a bit in every bite. The olives. And finally the green peppers. Once again, don't forget to keep the slices relatively thin, in fact as thin as you can. And now it's ready to bake. And just 10 minutes later, you've got a beautiful home-cooked pizza. Drizzle with a little olive oil and serve immediately. Wonderful, fresh, homemade pizza.